is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Let's keep it rolling. It's Live Bet Sunday. This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Dustin, Swedelson, Will Hill taking you through the next 3 hours, and it's a great time of the year, people. We've got a lot we've got to get to. Lots of bets along the way. Get you updated where we stand with the Elite 8 matchup currently going on. Houston up on the Tennessee Volunteers, 48-35, 8:46 remaining in the contest, Will. Want to touch on that before we look at anything else going on this afternoon. So this one opened with Houston laying 4.5, got bet down to 2.5 at close, and the Cougars have dominated since the jump. Total opened 122.5, down to 127.5 at close, and it feels like this is going to end up being a big-time under game, but the issues are coming from Tennessee, Will. The Volunteers unable to get anything going offensively. Houston just keeps extending the lead. They are now up 13. Do you see any chance for Tennessee to make this thing close?
No, I just think 13 is a lot in any game, but especially with these two defenses, with the way Houston has locked Tennessee down. But with 6 fouls on Houston, only 2 on Tennessee. So that's an issue in terms of like, hey, you're going to have to play the foul game here in a moment, or not in a moment, but relatively soon with 8:46 left. And we're reviewing a goaltend, so they might wipe away this goaltend and just give a 2-shot foul. So we're back to 48-33. Seeing 111.5, 112.5 for a total. I'd probably look over just because Tennessee, look, this is a chance to go to the Final Four. Tennessee is going to push the pace. They're eventually going to trap, foul, just try to do anything they can to get back in this game. And it's counterintuitive, but I think anytime you get a rock fight that where it's hard to score and you have the certain margin that lends itself to fouls and the total gets depressed, I think that's a situation where if I had to bet anything, I would go over right now. How about you? What are you feeling with this game?
I hit the first half under 57.5 pretty easily. I unfortunately have a Tennessee +3 bet, but that was more of a hedge because right before the tournament started, I bet Houston to win it all +650. And full disclosure, it's the only future I have left remaining, thanks to Texas Tech yesterday blowing that lead against Florida. I had 40-1 on the Red Raiders. If I could have got them to the Final Four, it really could have been nice. But I'm riding with Houston. Houston is the team I need to win it all right now, +650. I thought that number was way too big based on what we're seeing happen today. It's one thing when Kelvin Sampson's team has had this dominant defense, but he finally has an offense. And more importantly, he has a team that can shoot threes. Now, not so much today because I think this angle hasn't been talked about enough, Will. Why was one of these region sites playing these games at a football stadium while everyone else was at a regular basketball arena? This game being played in the Midwest region at Lucas Oil in Indy.
Yeah, I think I heard that it was a preparation for next year. They are going to have the Final Four here, so they want like a test run with that. I think that's the theory I heard, the explanation. So, yeah, I'm with you. It's tough to shoot here. It's tough for Tennessee. This just isn't a good offense. All year they struggled away from home, and Houston, we know how good and physical they are, and like you said, they're a better shooting team this year. So this is a really good Houston team. The problem for Houston is, and we can get into it at some point, is we're up to 50-35 here. It's hard to see past Duke at this point. I mean, they just look like basically an NBA team in college uniforms. But we are 7 or so minutes away from having our third number 1 seed, and then our fourth number 1 seed is about a 5.5 point favorite. So all the ones happened once before, happened in 08, and it looks like we are headed for that once again.
Yeah, more chalk than a sidewalk in this NCAA tournament. Favorites right now, 10-0 straight up. We have not had an upset of a favorite in a while now in this NCAA tournament. 50-35 your score with 7:17 to go. Look, the problems for Tennessee are pretty simple. You kind of knew it was going to pop up at some point. They just don't have the depth when it comes to scoring, Will. Lanier, if Lanier's not going to score from beyond the arc, they don't really have a chance. He's 1 of 9 today. Also, this Tennessee defense has forced just 2 turnovers of the Cougars right now. That's a recipe that Tennessee can't have play out if they're going to win ball games. They want to slow down the pace. They want to limit possessions. But in doing so, you also have to score. You have to get buckets from somewhere. And unfortunately, Tennessee very different this year. In the 300s in tempo this year, where they were right around 80 last season with Dalton Connect, they clearly miss having a go-to scorer like Connect this year. But do you think that narrative that has followed Rick Barnes for so long, do we hold it against him for not making another Final Four? Because to me, it feels like he squeezed the most he could out of this year's team.
I mean, he's had plenty of shortcomings in the tournament, but this year and even throwing last year when they fell short against Purdue, you don't hold that against them. His body of work is obviously well established in terms of losing to teams that are, I always get this confused, lower seed, higher seed, worse seeds than him. Losing to the Florida Atlantic, having Kevin Durant and not making a Sweet 16. While, by the way, he had 3 other NBA guys on the roster. He's had plenty of shortcomings and times he came up short. This losing to a 1 seed, he's an underdog. It's this is not really one of them, but this is did I see that stat correctly? Tennessee has never been to a Final Four. Is that true? I mean, that doesn't seem possible because they're always sort of in the mix, but I believe Tennessee has never been to the Final Four, and Barnes only went to that one in 2003 with that TJ4 team.
Yeah, the ironic part is that the coach that probably would have done that is playing later today in Bruce Pearl, but I don't believe he went to a Final Four either because things went down at the end, and he had some of his best teams, and unfortunately was booted out of there. And now he gets a chance, though. He has a great shot tonight. We'll get into that one later because I do have an official play on that one. Also have had a lot of plays on baseball, and the baseball is going shockingly well after a rough opening day. Started looking at more pitcher props, more hitter props, and we can delve into some of those throughout the show as well. Right now, though, a few games in progress, 2 yet to come that will start in our window, plus Sunday Night Baseball right before we get off the air here on Live Bet Sunday. By the way, you can follow Will on Twitter, at Not The Will Hill. I'm at Dustin Swedelson over on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days. And in about, let's see, we're about 3 hours away from a bunch of NBA games tipping as well. I don't know about you, Will, but I have not been locked into the association lately. The NCAA tournament has taken center stage. Baseball finally got going this week. It feels like the NBA is just crawling into their postseason, which the regular season ends 2 weeks from today.
No, it's look, there's a rhythm to the sports calendar, and this time of the year is for March. It's for the beginning of baseball. It's where the NBA takes a little bit of a backseat. But once this stuff clears out and you get past the Final Four, which is next weekend, then you're right there in the playing games. The playing games are fun because it's sort of March Madness-esque, which with the single elimination format, and it goes right into the playoffs. I think we're looking at a really good postseason, especially in the West, where it feels like, OKC's the favorite and the rightful favorite, but anything can kind of happen. So that should be a lot of fun. I was just thinking the other day, because I woke up yesterday or today, these days are running together, where I was just super tired. I was like, man, I'm kind of excited for college hoops to be ending just so I can catch up on some sleep, go to bed earlier. And I remembered, man, the NBA playoffs, they go to like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast, and that's not that far away. So not that long to catch your breath.
Well, the NCAA did you guys on the East Coast no favors this week with the late start times and games being pushed back. It's like, look, I live on the West Coast. I care about sports. But I think the people who care about sports on the West Coast, if you did it earlier, they'd make time. They'd find a way if you bumped everything up about 45 minutes to an hour. Trust me, the people who care will make time. You're not getting the casuals. The casuals on the West Coast, if they don't care, they're not going to care now. It's just simple as that. So that's where we stand there. But we got a great program lined up for you. I mentioned there's some baseball to come. We've got more college hoops because Auburn-Michigan State is a fascinating matchup. Plus, we'll talk with Ryan Andrade from RotoWire. He's got a breakdown coming up for Sparty and War Eagle. He'll join us 5 p.m. Eastern time, so about 50 minutes from now. This Tennessee-Houston game, though, we're at 13 points, and every time I look up, Houston has the basketball. That's the problem, Will, is Houston is dominating the possession, dominating the clock, and they're getting buckets where Tennessee is missing opening looks. They're not getting to the free throw line. It's just been a mess for the Volunteers here in the second half.
Yeah, I don't see much of a path for Tennessee. Like you said, the possessions are too long. Offense is too hard. Some 13-point leads are different. Not all 13-point leads are created equal. So this is one where, all right, they're 13 and they have the ball. If you can get this to like 7 or 8, who knows? But they're going to have to make a move and make it now because these leads are just hard to overcome here as they're sloppy with the ball. It goes out of bounds. It looks like Tennessee is going to keep it. But, yeah, the path for Tennessee coming back to win this game, it's going to be tough.
And look at that. By the way, 40-1 on Tennessee on the money line if you're feeling feisty. No. Look at that. The New York Yankees currently lead the Milwaukee Brewers 12-3. And who's on the mound for the Brewers right now? Jake Bauers, position player, on the bump here on a getaway
day. Can we live bet it? Can we live bet the over? Because
Where are we at?
Let's see, 15 runs, 16.5 is plus money. With a position player, I'm going to go. I like the over there.
I don't even see it on the board here. Oh, no, I do.
DraftKings has it.
16.5, and it's
Sometimes
the
these
eighth inning.
position players do a little bit better than you think, but with the way the Yankees are hitting, and that's really been the story of the first 3 or 4 days of the season, is these new Yankee bats, and I mean that literally. The actual bats are the story here. So 12-3. So you need. So you need a couple runs here.
There's a runner on first, though.
Doable.
There's a runner on first. He's throwing lollipops. I'll jump in with you.
He really is.
I'll jump in. I mean, look, are the bats illegal? No. Are they about to become illegal? Probably, because what the Yankees are doing right now,
I don't think so.
I can't imagine baseball allows this. I can't imagine.
I think they got approved already.
No, I know, but they didn't know what the results would look like. This is absurd.
I think the effect is we get a pop-up here. Ben Rice against like a 40-mile-an-hour fastball somehow pops it up. I think the results, though, will be the other teams doing it. That's what I think the results will be.
See,
how long does that take to institute and try to figure out, all right, how can we – this isn't an overnight thing, but, you know, it's not going to take forever either.
Well, yeah, and the question is, like, how quick does the manufacturer get those bats out to new teams? Because I'm sure the Yankees have been planning this for months, and they're probably a little bitter that their secret was let out of the bag. By the way, home run down in Texas, the Rangers now up 3-2 on the Boston Red Sox. That was Adolis Garcia with a big fly to left center, and the Rangers now have a lead there. All right, there's a lot happening. We'll keep you updated on baseball. We'll look at some angles here as we try to get a bet down on that over in Yankees-Brewers. And we'll take you through the end of Tennessee-Houston, where balls have cut it to 10. Can they make it closer? Find out when we return on Live Bet Sunday.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back at it here. It's Live Bet Sunday. This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Dustin Swedelson, hanging out with Will Hill for the next couple hours here, taking you through some wild action across sports. We've got the Elite Eight, Houston and Tennessee, 5.5 to go, 10-point game. Baseball all over the place, NBA going. It's a great time to be a sports fan, also be a sports bettor. Also, I'm not great with time. Did not realize 2 baseball plays I had at vsin.com/picks have already started. You can still bet them, though, because I have the Diamondbacks team total over 4.5, and I have J.P. Sears for the Athletics over 4.5 strikeouts at plus money. Sears hasn't pitched yet. We're heading to the bottom of the first now. And in the other game, the Diamondbacks haven't hit yet against the Cubs. So those plays still possible if you want to jump in there. But the player props in baseball have been interesting. I don't know if you delve into them too much, Will. A lot of plus money on strikeout props early, and it's been juicy because a lot of times this time of year when we start the season, these pitchers are way ahead of hitters, and they tend to get more swings and misses.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're driving out there and you want to get these plays in, pull over. We don't need Dustin.
They're that good at plays, though. They're that good. You should pull over.
Just because Dustin can't manage the clock, he's like Mike Tomlin over here. Don't get into a car accident, okay? We get the plays in, pull over, and be safe. By the way, Tennessee cuts it to 10, makes it interesting, but then Houston responds with a 3. It's been good. You kind of want to dip your toe in the water. You don't want to just start firing because you don't have any data. Pitch usage one way or another can be tricky this time of year. Pitcher usage, you're like, all right, this guy's going to go 4 innings or he's going to go 6. These guys have actually thrown more pitches than I thought. I remember the Tokyo series, these guys were going,
you're right,
3-4 innings. These guys have actually gone 5-6 innings, 80-90 pitches. Sasaki, by the way, was awful again last night for the Dodgers. 62 pitches, an inning and 2/3. So yeah, it's a time to gather the data, sort of get your feet wet. Start to get mad about umpire calls and why this pitcher got pulled earlier, why this guy got left in. But it's so great to have it back. That is my official take. It is just so great to have it back. There are so many games. There are so many ways to bet it. It's just the best.
It feels like a backhanded compliment, but I missed the background noise. I miss just having a baseball game on in the background while I'm doing other things. Like, you don't have to lock in and focus on every play. You can hear every play set itself up. The announcer's voice inflection will change. If something happens, you have to look up. Baseball is just a different animal. I'm pumped that it's back. And again, JP Sears over 4.5 Ks. Arizona Diamondbacks team total over 4.5. That's what we're looking at. We already cashed Ryan O'Hearn from the Orioles over 1.5 total bases at plus 133 earlier today. So feel good about that, and don't feel good about Tennessee. They drive to the basket and miss with under 5 minutes to go, and it is still an 11-point game. Cougs up 53-42 on the Volunteers. And
needed that one.
Yeah, no, if you were going to make this interesting, you had to get under 10 and under 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
But Houston's offense is just different this year. The fact that they can do what they just did. They just banged a deep three, great ball movement. And speaking of ball movement, can you and I discuss what went down on Friday? That play call to get that bucket under the basket.
Oh, beautiful.
I still don't know if it was the play design or if it was an audible because the inbounder saw the player go to another player to defend him. Either way, it's great coaching by Kelvin Sampson. For a situation, for a player, a coach to be that aware of what was going to happen and to get an open look in that spot was absolutely insane.
Yeah, so often when it's a chance for the last shot, these guys just hold the ball as long as possible. They're afraid to get a travel or an offensive foul, and they just puke up some shot as time expires, and it's rarely a good look. That was beautiful. That was concise. That was with intention and well-designed play. They got lucky. They didn't get called for a push-off a little earlier in that possession because that could have easily been an offensive foul. But look, that Houston got some calls against them in the first half. I thought the refs had a tough game the other night. But, no, that was a beautiful play. And how about, if we're going to go back, how about the melt by Texas Tech? That is one where, my goodness, if you had futures, if you're Texas Tech, you got to be sick. Now, granted, Arkansas did the same thing, but, boy, you're up 9. You get a missed 3. If you get a rebound there, the game is just about over. It goes to Florida. They bang a 3 as Houston has put this away. Houston's going to the Final Four, 59-42. Under 4 minutes to go. This game is officially over.
Yeah, this is too much.
Houston has this.
How about Houston, though? With the lead they had, going a 9-2 run over the last 2 minutes to extend it. That's what you want to see out of these teams. We'll get into the Duke matchup here in a little bit. Duke's super efficient. Houston's got some grown-ass men. That could be something that mitigates the talent gap. It's just Houston's been through it before. They're a really physical team. I'm not sure Duke has experienced a team quite like what Houston can throw at them with this defense, how aggressive they are. But what were you saying? Oh, you were saying the Texas Tech game yesterday. So here's what we got to talk about. I have 40-1 on the Red Raiders to win it all. I was driving back from L.A. yesterday with my girlfriend with the game on. I have her as I'm trying to get over the Nevada State border with 3 minutes to go in that game. And I'm like, as soon as that thing says the location is back and we're in the right state, I need you to fire on the money line on Florida. And of course, as soon as we get over state lines, you can't even get a number worth betting. You can't. It's off the board. It was.
You have my number. I have money in these accounts. I have 100 different accounts. You could just text.
I know.
You know people in Vegas. You got to be bad job by you. You got to be more resourceful.
I thought I had it under control. So unfortunately, I had like 7 futures going into the year. We're down to Houston plus 650, but it looks good. It's obviously the shortest ticket I had, but Houston plus 650 is going to live to fight another day. I'll probably just have to hedge a little bit on the Dukies, unfortunately, here. But that was an interesting game just because, Texas Tech was losing for so long. They mount the comeback, and ironically, it's Williams with missing the 1-on-1 free throws. He missed a few 3 free throws down the stretch, and then missing an open look. He helped get them there, helped them beat Arkansas, had big shots in the first half, but when it mattered at the end, I was really impressed the way Florida decided to defend him differently in crunch time.
And I thought, and you were driving, so you didn't hear it, I thought Harlan completely undersold. What a ridiculous comeback. What a ridiculous sequence of events this was to hit the 3 off the offensive rebound, get a miss 1-and-1, another 3, another miss 1-and-1. And then eventually there's a sequence where it's tied. Texas Tech actually goes up by 2 with like a minute change left. Florida hits another 3. Then there was a sequence where I think Texas Tech missed at a 3-point game, and Florida almost got a 10-second violation. Tech fouls them and bails them out. Another split second, that's going to go to 20. Florida had no awareness of it, and Texas Tech would have had the ball. So I know a couple buddies had Texas Tech in some big survivor pools where they were saving the 1 seeds, and they were pretty well set up. Just a great game, and we haven't had too many of them. Houston Purdue was a good one the other night. Arkansas Texas Tech, we've had maybe 5 or 6 of them in this whole tournament, but we're at least set up here for some really good matchups with all the chalk still hanging around here.
That play by Walter Clayton to hit that 3 the way he did, dribbling it out like he's playing half-court basketball to take it back and drain that 3 in their eyes in the spot that it was, that was an all-time shot for me. Like, that was onions. That was Rafterty onions right there. I think a bigger story, if we want to talk about college basketball being broken, how the hell does Walter Clayton Jr. end up at Iona? Like, that dude can play. He is an NBA player. How does he end up at Iona originally and finally gets to shine at a program like SEC here in his senior season?
Ricky Pitino. I think he was with the Pitino
he was.
squad a couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah, he was. But what a player. That Florida team, look, I tend to go away from who the trendy teams are. When everyone I respect loves one team down the stretch, Florida became that team. Remember their futures odds the last week of the season after winning the SEC, they shrunk from about 6.5, 7-1 down to about 380. And everyone was betting on them. Everyone saw Florida as the best team in the country. And I have no reason to think otherwise why that isn't the most balanced team in the country. Duke's probably more talented, but I'm not sure they're as dominant on both ends as Florida's capable of being. Is that a crazy statement to you?
No, I don't think it's a crazy statement, but right now Duke is odds on. Someplace I think right behind you, circa Bar Canada, wherever you are, I think they're odds on. They've got the best player. They've got Malawach. They've got more depth than I think people realize. And I think kind of an underrated thing maybe for Duke, even though they haven't been tested, losing Flag and losing the other guy for the ACC tournament, I think it was Brown who got hurt, it gave these other guys a chance to step up. It gave them more confidence. It gave them another gear. They are just, it feels like UConn last year, to be honest. I'd be surprised. You're talking about laying even money, laying minus 105 for a team to win 2 games. It's not like some bold take or some great value. I'd be surprised if somebody beat Duke at this point. They look that good, but we're looking at really 3 outstanding Final Four games, especially if we get Auburn to come through here. A Final Four of Auburn, Florida, Houston, Duke. That's we didn't get much in terms of the excitement of the upsets, but this is 4 absolute powerhouse teams.
Your bracket might be done, but the tournament isn't, and neither are your chances to win. Become a VSiN Pro today for just $9.99 and turn your tournament heartbreak into betting success. Why? We have a lot to offer you over at the website, vsin.com. Best bets from all of our hosts and guests. Betting splits from DraftKings and Circa to see where the money's going. 24/7 video access with the VSiN Watch app, plus vsin.com access with expert analysis, betting systems, and our March Mania betting guide. Don't let a busted bracket keep you from winning. Go to vsin.com, read everything all of our great team has to write, whether it's Steve Makinen and the numbers and trends, Adam Burke, Zach Cohen, Tyler Shoemaker, looking at both men and women's college hoops. vsin.com/subscribe. It's just $9.99. Let VSiN help you turn the madness into money. That's vsin.com/subscribe. This one looks about over. What's next for Houston? We'll break down the 3 out of the 4 Final Four teams on Live Bet Sunday.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, looks like Houston's wrapping this thing up. Welcome back in. It's Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. He's Will Hill. I'm Dustin Swedelson. We're here all afternoon long. Want to update you on scores happening across baseball. But first, under a minute to go. Houston up 67-50 on Tennessee. They are heading to the Final Four. They will join Duke, Florida, and the winner of tonight's game between Auburn and Michigan State. A breakdown of Sparty and the Tigers coming up momentarily. But there is some baseball on opening weekend that I do think is worth mentioning. I'd also like to mention that Rob Manfred is the worst commissioner in all of baseball, Will. So the week begins with MLB TV, the app, not working on opening day.
Only commissioner in baseball, unfortunately, but yes.
Yeah. Or, I mean, worst commissioner in sports.
Yeah,
The worst commissioner in sports, Rob Manfred. So MLB TV app doesn't work on opening day. And then I go to look at the schedule. Why do we have teams not playing today? It's Sunday. Why are teams not playing on a weekend day? You want people to just go during the week when they have jobs and they have things to do? It'd be nice on MLB opening weekend if, teams were available on a day where people don't regularly have work. I can't imagine another league mismanaging situations more than Rob Manfred does with baseball.
No disagreement here. I mean, think about NFL opening weekend. We get the opening Thursday game. Then we get a Friday game now. Games all day Sunday, Sunday night, 2 games on Monday. They flood the airwaves with their product. Baseball starts Thursday, no games at noon, no games at 1. And then we're at 3 o'clock Eastern. They stack everything against each other. And a lot of teams off Friday, no action early on Friday. It's bad. But I feel a little resurgence for baseball. I think I could sense more juice than usual. I think the instant gratification nature of betting in baseball is kind of scary, but it might lead to a bit of a resurgence here because you can bet on will this team get a hit in the bottom of the third against Skeens? Will this guy strike out? Aaron Judge is up. Is he going to walk? Is he going to homer? It's again, it's scary to get people want the action that quickly, but you can bet on pitch to pitch, at bat to bat, inning to inning, more so than other sports. I guess in football you could do drives, but I don't know. Baseball is just more conducive to this instant gratification betting. So there's just so much to bet.
The micro betting just plays itself out easier in baseball because, look, in football there are opportunities to place those types of bets, but the reality is we never know how far behind the clock we are. At least with baseball, if the other team is hitting and you want to bet on the team that's in the field and one of their hitters, you're not going to get screwed there, right? Right. That the sports book isn't ahead of you and giving you a bad number. So I think because of that, baseball has so many variety of ways to attack it. You can go total bases. You can go home run props. You can look at some of the team stuff. There's just so many different ways to get into it. I agree with you. I think baseball, because of betting, if the commissioner could properly embrace it, I think it would do a lot for the sport's popularity. I just don't trust that's going to happen. Let's look at some scores from earlier today, Will. Giants beat the Reds 6-3. Matt Chapman, a 2-run dinger. Ramos, the outfielder for the Giants, hits a solo shot. They take care of the Reds, and they take 2 of 3 in that opening series. But I don't know about you. I'm pretty high on the Reds this year. You don't want to make too much out of one series, but don't love them at home losing to a team like San Francisco, because I do think there is some upside with Cincinnati in 2025.
Yeah, you, me, and the rest of the world all love these Reds. The problem is starting to get a little flashback for anyone that bet the Reds last year, the last couple of years. It always feels like they're a little bit of the little girl with the curl, just a little bit of a tease. You see all the talent. You see Ellie De La Cruz sprinting around the bases before you can blink and hitting the ball 9 miles. And they got some pitching. They got a lot of talent. And you look up, it's just it never seems to add up to as many wins as you think. Again, we're a weekend in, so it's a extremely, extremely tiny sample, but I'm with you. Any team that, even though it's 4 days in here, that you feel differently about, like, man, now that I see this play out instead of just on paper, I feel better or worse about this team. Is there any team like that for you?
I'm questioning my take on the Yankees. And
me too.
A lot of it, now granted, it's the Brewers, and this is the type of team the Brewers really struggle with, is the big-time market team with the lineup. But I would say this, and aside from whatever they're doing with the bats, I didn't trust that bottom part of the Yankees lineup. I didn't trust, from 5-6 down, and they're mashing right now. So I may be wrong about that. It was less about Cole being out for the year and more about, I think the lineup was kind of overrated. But if they can get production out of Goldschmidt and some other guys that they brought in, the Yankees lineup's going to hang. I do think the Red Sox are a little bit overrated. And it's not just because they're about to fall to 1-3 on the year if Texas holds on today. I think Boston is not built to withstand injuries to their pitching staff. They have a lot of regression candidates when it comes to the rotation, a lot of question marks. Guys like Walker Buehler, who's coming off a couple surgeries, pitched deep into the postseason. Tanner Houck, who was a bit up and down at the end of last season. I'm not buying the Red Sox like everyone else. Those are the two that jump out to me, but I don't have any sweeping conclusions I'm going to draw out of the opening series. What about you? Anyone jump out to you that you have anything big you're taking away right now?
Not necessarily. I agree with what you said about the Yankees. How about Atlanta trying to avoid a 0-4 start here?
Yeah.
That would be one that, all right. I mean, again, it's only 3 or 4 games, but 0-4, you start to get to like that 1-7, 2-8 territory. We're not there yet. That kind of start can take a long time to overcome. Now, it doesn't matter as much as it used to, because it used to be 2 teams make the playoffs, then eventually 4. Now it's 6, where, okay, you know what? If you're a really good team, you're going to find your way to 88, 90 wins. You're going to be in the playoffs, and then whatever happens from there, and kind of a crapshoot. But that's one of those, if you have high expectations, expect expectations to win a division, and you start out 0-4, 0-5, 2-7, 2-8, that can take a long time to really get back on track. You're going to have to really rack up some wins to get back to where you want to be.
I have real concerns about the Braves, and it actually has not a lot to do with what people are talking about with them. I think people are saying, Acuna is out, Murphy's out, right? Strider coming off the injury. That's not actually my concerns. The biggest issue the Braves have going for them, and Riley coming off the hand injury from a year ago, the biggest concern for Atlanta this year, Will, is that you're heavily reliant starting pitching-wise on Chris Sale, who threw the most innings he'd thrown since like 2017, 2018, and Ronaldo Lopez, who was a reliever turned starter again and hadn't thrown that many innings in like 5 or 6 years himself. So you're dependent on your 1 and 2 starters while Strider's, getting back to form, are guys that haven't traditionally stayed healthy and thrown a ton of innings. And if they go down, what's the next option? You've already called up a lot of your top guys, right? Smith-Shawver's going to go tonight. Schwellenbach was called up a year ago. You've used your top prospect arms. I don't know if the depth is there like it used to be. And the question then becomes, in the summer, the ball flies out of that ballpark in Atlanta and Cobb County. And when the ball starts flying, can their pitching do enough to keep them in ball games there? In the past, they had a ton of arms. They had Max Fried in that rotation. I don't see the pitching depth like I've seen in the past. So I have concerns about the Braves, but I also believe when they get to 100% health, they have a chance to mash better than anyone this side of the Dodgers. They are like the only hope offensively outside of the Dodgers that I can think puts up the similar type of runs that LA is going to do this year.
How many wins for the Dodgers? If I had to pin you down to an exact number, how many wins do you think?
110. I'll say 110.
Yeah, I'm right in that. I think I said 109 yesterday with Ben Wilson. Yeah, I think they're going over, and I think they're going to go over by a few games.
Yeah, I don't want to say they're going to go for the record, because I think they have bigger goals, and with that comes them kind of resting down the stretch, although in baseball that does concern you if you rest too much before the playoffs begin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I heard you and Ben Wilson yesterday. I got to do the Ben Wilson. Hang on, let me unbutton a couple buttons here, because
let's stop right there.
Whenever Ben Wilson hosts on VSiN, I don't know if you know this, every time he comes back from break, like another button has been unbuttoned until he's just working with a wide open shirt. That's the Ben Wilson move here.
VSiN++.
Yeah, there he is.
You find out more. There you go.
There he is.
Good job. They're on top of it.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking 109, 110. They're really good. Sasaki would be a concern. I mean, he's walked about 100 guys in the 3 or 4 innings he's pitched. He can't seem to throw a strike. And you go back and look at his numbers in Japan. He's 2 walks per 9 innings. That was not a concern. So I don't know. Sometimes there's a theory that the ball is different here in the U.S., but
the seams.
That's a little surprising. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something. We'll see.
No, the seams are a little different. It's just weird because, I think of Japan as a society, as a super efficient society. And for whatever reason, a couple Japanese pitchers on the Dodgers, Yamamoto and Sasaki, not really efficient. They work their pitch counts really high. Think that's an odd chasm between what I know about Japan. And by the way, I know very little about Japan outside of the sushi I had for dinner last night. If you want to know something about horse racing, you should check out First Bet. Are you ready to get in on the action? First Bet has you covered. Sign up now to access exclusive promotions and bet on hundreds of thrilling horse races every day, right from your phone or computer. Visit firstbet.com. That's the number 1, stbet.com, and use promo code VSiN200 to score a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days up to $200. Don't miss out. Start betting today over at firstbet.com. He's Will Hill. I'm Dustin Swedelson, and we've got action everywhere. We're about, 25 minutes away from Michigan State and Auburn doing action here. A trip to the Final Four is on the line. In case you missed it, Houston took care of business against Tennessee. No harm, no foul, no problem. They advanced to the Final Four. They will meet up with Duke. Who's going to win between Auburn and Michigan State? Can Tom Izzo pull off a miracle run here, or is it finally Bruce Pearl's time? Will and I will break it down next on Live Bet Sunday.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back at it on Live Bet Sunday. This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Dustin Swedelson. He's Will Hill, and we're sweating out some baseball. I've got the Diamondbacks team total over 4.5. They've got 2 runners on now with 2 outs against Matthew freaking Boyd and the Chicago Cubs in town. I need the D-backs, who were one of the best teams in baseball a year ago off lefties, to do some damage on this guy who throws 88 miles an hour. Like, what are we freaking doing here, Arizona? Let's get some runs. Let's break through. Sweating that out, and we'll update you on some scores from around baseball. Let's see. In the 8th inning, the Guardians are up on the Royals 6-0. Michael Wacha started that game, Will. Michael Wacha, the reason why the Royals have been a fade candidate for me to start the year, long term, I just don't trust that Michael Wacha is going to do what he did a year ago. This guy's been very up and down his career. He's had a couple really good years, but then is below average in between those seasons. And for Cleveland, Tanner Bybee gets the start after missing opening day with sickness, and they're all over Kansas City on the road in Kansas City, 6-0 in the 8th.
Bybee's really good. I watched Gavin Williams yesterday. Ben and I sweated out the first 5 under. Well, Ben wasn't sweating because his shirt was basically off, but I was sweating out the first 5 under. And Gavin Williams looked good.
He's
Bybee
good.
looked good today. I think two hits a shutout ball. Can you get enough pitching after that? Clase has become an issue. Blew a save on opening day, and he was awful last year in the postseason after basically being unhittable for 162 games. But I know that was a team, a lot of sharp people like the under, some of the run differential stuff, the sequencing stuff. Thought there was a lot of positive variance their way last year. I think they have too much pitching for me to go under. Eventually, at some point, maybe midsummer, you get Bieber back. So
yeah,
they I'm with you. I'm not high on the Royals. To me, I don't know. Do you like anyone in that division?
I went with the Tigers, but it was kind of a default play because it was young. Well, we can't take too much out of a series with the Dodgers, but it was more just young players should get better. I like that they're letting Jackson Jobe be a part of the rotation to start things off, let him grow.
I agree.
The issue I have with that division is Cleveland clearly took another step back offensively with some of the moves they made. I'd say with Minnesota, they're very hard to trust when your 3 best position players and bats in the lineup have played under 100 games the last couple of years, and Royce Lewis, Buxton, and I'm missing one, Carlos Correa. Like, you're dealing with 3 guys who are hurt all the time, so I can't really trust Minnesota. It was kind of by default. Detroit has a bunch of young kids who should improve. I'll roll with them, and hopefully we see that growth this year. Who was your favorite in the division?
Didn't have any bets. If I had to, I'd probably just go with Cleveland because I do think they have enough pitching to get to the finish line, but nothing I'd have like a lot of conviction about. As Devers is up for Boston.
Oh,
he's
man.
Been awful. I guess some of the numbers, he's just basically striking out every at bat. He is up now facing Jackson, 2 outs, 2 strikes, a 3-2 game with Texas leading. So the go-ahead run is at the plate, and the tying run is in scoring position. We'll see. Devers is 0 for 40. He's been awful to start the season. See if he can come through with a big hit as he takes a ball, and we now have a full count. So a little drama here in Texas.
Well, I think it's a brilliant move by Devers. He wants to play third base. He's going to claim he's not good unless he plays third base. So put him back at third. Watch, he'll go 4 for 4. I'm sure of that. On the mound, by the way, closing it out for Texas is Luke Jackson. Should note, Jacob deGrom, first time on the hill in a while, 5 innings, 2 hits, 6 strikeouts. Did have 2 walks, but Jacob deGrom, no runs allowed in his debut for the Texas Rangers this year.
Yeah, and he got his feet wet a little bit at the end of last season through like 10 or so innings, which I really don't remember. I had to go back.
I didn't remember that at all. That's why I just brought that up.
I hope for just as like forget betting. Just from a baseball standpoint, him, Trout. You hope they're guys that can stay healthy. They've basically been wiped out in their prime for the last like 3-4 years. But DeGrom was impressive. His Devers draws a walk, so that's a positive step for him and how bad he's been in these first couple games. So the go ahead run now on base here, 2 on, 2 out. Bregman coming to the plate. But yeah, DeGrom, I didn't watch a lot of this, but he was obviously pretty effective here. I think he left. Well, do you have his stats in front of you?
Yeah, let me pull it up again.
He left without giving up a run.
He did.
I think all
no
this
runs.
damage came out.
Yep.
Yeah.
No runs.
How many Ks?
I believe it was 6 and 5 and some change. Let's see.
Yeah.
Box score. He was at Jacob deGrom, 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, 2 hits, 2 runs.
This is the one
walks.
team. This is the one team I do have a World Series future on. I did take Texas at 25-1.
I like them a lot, Will. I think that their lineup, top to bottom, I mean,
Loaded.
it's as loaded as a line, especially if Josh Young hits like he's capable of hitting.
Yeah.
And we've seen it when he's been healthy. I think Texas.
I think he's hurt already. I think I saw today he got up. He's already on the IL with an X strain.
Again?
I mean, you can't make it up with some of these guys. I know they had so many injuries last year, which is why partly why I like them this year. Is like they're gonna get some positive regression. You got Seager, who he's hurt a lot too, but missed a quarter of the season. Yeah, it's incredible. DeGrom, they got nothing out of. Scherzer got nothing out of. Garcia had a bad year. There's just a lot of meat on the bone. Plus, you throw in Wyatt Langford, Carter. These guys can develop and become all-star caliber players already with the veterans that won the World Series a couple years ago. I think this team is very live. So we'll see if we can get an out here, 2-on, 2-out with Bregman coming to the plate.
And the idea of seeing young guys like Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker in the rotation, I mean, that is a smart move. If they're not good, you'll fill it with veterans. But let's see if they can step up a level, because those are two elite prospects that have huge arms. You might as well use them with a team like this. The Berger edition, the Higashioka edition, like really smart offseason, as that ball was fouled away. Is that the second strike or first strike here on Bregman? First strike.
I got 0-1.
0-1, ninth inning. Rangers up 3-2 on the Red Sox. So we get a little bit of drama in this window, as Will mentioned. Sweating out my J.P. Sears strikeout prop. And that's a grounder. That's not going to help me. So he's got 4. Through 3 innings, I got 4 strikeouts, and he won more for J.P. Sears. And he's been a very efficient, like 36 pitches through 3 innings. So love to see that there as Bregman takes strike 2. So that's strike 2 now on Boston.
Royals making a little noise too. They were down 6-0. It is now 6-1 in the bottom of the 8th, but they have the bases loaded and there's nobody out. They are still plus 600 on the live. Okay, running.
With the way you talked about
for you to interest you,
that it's a little late in the game for that. Yeah. I was hoping for a little bit bigger of a number, maybe like 9-10 to 1, but.
Fast forward to 10 minutes from now when it's like plus 130. I'm like, why don't we take the plus 600?
No, I know. And it's early in the year. You don't know how these bullpen arms are feeling, having pitched 2 out of 3 days type thing, one day of rest between. They're not quite in their rhythm. So the Rangers do get the out. I didn't see how it happened, but ball game over.
Swing and miss, check swing on Bregman. He strikes out, and the game is over. 3-2 final for a Rangers win. Rangers lose opening day and come back to win, I believe 3 in a row. So 3-1 now for the Rangers, 1-3 for everybody. That's everybody else's darling, is the Red Sox. The Reds and the Red Sox. Everybody, Eason, me included, we all love the Red Sox. Look, it's only 4 games, and at Texas is a tough way to start it, but a tough start indeed for Boston after winning on Thursday, down 2-1. Abreu, it's a homer to tie it, homer to win it, but they have lost the last 3 since.
Live Bet Sunday, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. He's Will Hill. I'm Dustin Swedelson. Sweating baseball all over the place. Action happening everywhere you turn your head. I'm live from the D in downtown Las Vegas, and I got to tell you, there aren't many better places in town to watch a game, just because the way the TVs are set up and situated, you can kind of get a glimpse of everything at once and just do your rotation of, right, Elite 8, hockey, basketball, women's basketball, NBA, baseball, and then go back through as the plays are happening. So it's a really great spot to watch games. Come by, buy me a beer. I will gladly drink a free beer if you're paying. We have a lot to get to, though.
Nice of you.
I know.
Really nice of you trying to solicit free things from our lovely audience. We got a couple minutes left. Very quickly, Houston Duke, we have an opening line. Do you want to guess?
Duke minus 4.5.
You nailed it.
Oh, it is. I didn't even cheat that time. God's truth. Actually, I never get those right. You know that. I'm always way off by like 3 or 4. So, all right, Duke minus 4.5. And, man, you know what? We'll talk about that.
Does that go up or go down?
I think it gets bet up. I think all the sharp people love Duke. It's also a public team. They're just going to take money. Does it close 6?
5.5, 6, 5.5 maybe. Yeah, wouldn't be shocked. 6, wouldn't be shocked. So if you like Duke, I would jump on it. If you like Houston, I wait. That would be my
what's the total?
My sage advice.
The total.
I didn't bring it up. I just clicked off it.
Okay, let's see. I see 136.5. I'd lean under, because I do think that Houston's defense is a bit different physicality-wise than Duke has seen during this run. I mean, I've been wrong thinking that the lack of tests in the ACC would catch up with Duke at some point, so I may be wrong about this as well. But I do think Houston is a different style of fight that these kids for Duke maybe haven't seen before.
Yep, Duke plays slow too, so Houston doesn't mind grinding it down. So I would agree with that. 136.5, maybe. Maybe that comes down a couple points. We see like 134.5, something like that. So I think Duke will get bet. I think the under will get bet.
Are you ready?
Where are we? I should know this. We're going to break here. Where are we playing next week? San Antonio, right?
San Antonio, Final Four. And I believe, is that I don't know if that's technically a football stadium, though. I don't know what those sight lines are like. So, yeah, that is a good question. I assume they're playing in the Alamo Dome. So maybe it would be, but the Alamo Dome plays basketball all the time as well. So that is a good point by you. All right, we've got to look ahead because in about 10 minutes they're going to tip. It's Michigan State and Auburn. A trip to the Final Four is on the line. We'll break it down next on Live Bet Sunday.